Self-help, self-care, and mental health are empty, useless pursuits. And let me tell you why. Self-help was meant to alleviate the stressors of life. It was never meant to be the idol of which to live by. Mental health was meant to be something good, but it has turned into another fad of self-idolization and pseudo-self-improvement. We talk a lot about mental health. We have experts who say we need to talk more about mental health. We have a society and even a culture that promotes the talking about mental health. But have you ever stopped to think, how much better is our mental health actually getting? According to a Gallup poll that measured depression rates from 2015 to today, what we see is we have an increase from 2015 up to this year, 2023. And if you look closely, you'll see that the amount of percentile points is increased is 1% per year. So since the advent of the mental health awareness push in around 2015, it's actually gotten worse. Rates of depression have actually increased. And if this continues all the way through 2025, we will see a 10% increase in the rates of depression, which means that our culture is not focused on the right thing. Whatever we're doing, it's not working. So you might ask, well, what is the answer? What are we supposed to do then? Well, the answer is this. It's pursuing holiness. And yeah, I mean the traditional, thousands of years old pursuit of the Judeo-Christian virtue of holiness. That. But before I get into that, I want to go through the 4 core values of the self-help or mental health improvement model that seems to permeate our culture. Number 1, we have the doctrine of loving yourself first. Number 2, we have the idea of the pursuit over the destination. The destination doesn't matter. It's all about enjoying the journey. Number 3, it's about putting your happiness above all else. And number 4, do as you will. Put yourself first. Now, I'll very quickly go through why these are wrong, but the Christian worldview promises the opposite. It says, no, pursue virtue, pursue holiness, pursue righteousness. And I'll give you an example. Matthew 10:39. Whoever finds his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. Here we have a verse that is the antithesis of the first 2 core values of loving yourself and pursuing or the pursuit over the destination. And so the reason for this is because love in the Christian worldview is to die for the sake of Jesus Christ, if necessary. It's not mandatory or anything like that, but the point is that your love is devoted to something outside of yourself. But more profoundly, you have a call to the ultimate destination, which is salvation in heaven above. It has very little to do with the primary focus of the pursuit over the destination. Luke 9:23. And he said to them all, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross daily, and follow me. Here we have a message of responsibility to do the thing you don't want to do. And as such, whatever makes you happy is not the priority, but serving something that is outside of yourself and universal in nature, which is Jesus, that is to be your main focus. And finally, we have Romans 7:15. For I do not do what I want, but I do the very thing I hate. Here we have the opposite of the do as you will gospel. You see, we are told to proactively engage in things we don't want to do, which is virtue. A lot of us like to think that we are akin to wanting to pursue virtue, but if you observe yourself, I think you'll find that you resist virtue more than you care to admit. And I'll give you an example. When you see an attractive person across the street or in your vicinity, do you find that lustful thoughts tend to permeate in your mind? Or if you find yourself in a situation where your pride is under attack, do you humble yourself? Self-help promises ease, but it's ultimately incomplete. The Bible, on the other hand, promises tribulation, but wholeness at the end of the day. Self-help promises utility, but it's only temporary. The Bible promises wisdom as well as a long-term understanding of life. Self-help promises self-achievement and is okay about the means to get there as long as your moral relativism says it's okay. But the Bible says to have virtue, righteousness, and reverence in all daily matters, including your thoughts. They are the antithesis of one another, which is why the Bible can't just be another self-help book. It's the book of eternity. Self-help is of the world, and it's meant to be a temporary fix of gaining favor in the world. But holiness, why is it so special? It's special because it's eternal. Isaiah 6:3, and one called to another and said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. The world of self-help promises glory to you, but the Christian worldview says that even in your ultimate glory, give it all to the Creator, to the Lord, the King of heaven and earth, to Jesus Christ, so that at the apex of your life, you don't become the object of worship, but that in pure virtue, you can humble yourself and accredit these things to the God who gave it all to you. And paradoxically and simultaneously, pursuing holiness at the lowest and most difficult part of your life sanctifies hope that this life is the closest to hell you will ever experience. Holiness is the answer you least expect in the pursuit of self-improvement. And it's the only answer that self-help and mental health gurus will never give you. Yet it's the pursuit that the Christian worldview says is the universal answer for all, not because it's easy, but because it's hard. May God bless you, and get out there and make better happen daily.